Welcome everyone to D&D. Would you press the button? I'm here today with chat. Around 158 of you are about to help me press some buttons. We got 20 different prompts on the board. Would you rather have your character immediately level up, but a different character in the party loses a level? Chat, would you press this button? Yes or no? Personally, I would not press this button. The fact that most people don't ever get to level up, so this would be a boon on their end. Like, we've been level 1 for 5 sessions. Please, DM, please. Actually, wait, how would this work if someone's like level 1 and then you press this button? Does someone become level 0? Do you kill their character if you press the button? That'd be hilarious. I didn't think this concept out too far. Either you kill them or they become like a commoner. So let me go ahead and close this poll. Chat, you would push this button. Would you push this button? If you do, you get to play World of Warships, the sponsor of today's video. It's a free-to-play naval warfare-themed PC game featuring over 500 ships dating back to World War I and II. With 10 nations to choose from and historical ships unique to them all, you can test the waters with the pros and cons of each to customize your experience and lead a tactical approach into the game and its massive 12v12 arenas. Wild weather effects like rain, snow, and fog can also completely change the tide of battle and offer a best-in-class level of combat immersion. Weather effects aren't just for show, but also mix up combat by changing the tactics in real time. A constant stream of new content every month ensures there's always new stuff to play around with across 40 different maps and 7 different game modes, letting you play with your friends in co-op, climb the ranks in competitive, or take it more casual and test your mettle against AI. Console players who press the button also get the set sail because World of Warships can be played on your favorite gaming boxes of all shapes and sizes. While signing up, use the code Warships to get a starter pack full of useful goodies, including a boatload of doubloons, credits, premium account time, and a ship unlocked right off the bat. This button's offer is so good that there isn't even a downside. You'd be a fool to pass it up. You can download the game using the link in the description below. Thanks for World of Warships for sponsoring this button, but let's get right back into the video. You gain the skills of a professional voice actor, but you're forced to T-pose and keep an expressionless face whenever you voice act. Just don't show my face when I voice act. What are you gonna do? Put a bag over your head whenever you voice act? A good majority of people like playing in real life too. How are you gonna avoid T-posing? I don't know, maybe I'd do it. All of my serious voice acting tends to be just through a microphone where no one can hear me. Well, no one can see me, that is. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Like, you know those people who have like the puppets? That's ventriloquism, right? There are some people who do really good voice acting with ventriloquism, and they don't move their face. That's the kind of thing that I'm imagining, right? That's what we're going off of. Like, you're barely moving your face at all, but you're still putting out like god tier level voices. But yeah, all right, 60% of you would push this button. For the past 3, all of you have pressed the button. Interesting. Maybe they're not as spicy as I was led on to believe. You can instantly prepare the content for any campaign you run, but you can only play any campaign you prepare in this way for 2 hours once a week. Now, I chose 2 hours specifically because I know a good majority of tables tend to play for 3, but the amount of time that you save prepping could definitely be a boon for a good majority of people. I would find this a little bit annoying personally. 65% of you are voting to push. Reasonable. I'd say maybe I'd push it as well. I can't be asked to prepare stuff for sessions. Anyway, your character gets to cast the wish spell, but there's a 60% chance it'll go wrong and just mess with you. And we're not talking like world-ending messing with you. We're just talking, this is just an annoying hindrance that messes with your character, and that's about it. I know a lot of people who are really sensitive with their characters and they wouldn't want something potentially negative like this to happen to them. Like my sisters, they hated when anything like permanently detrimental would ever happen to their characters. So I try to go out of my way to not have stuff like that happen. So I can understand where the 30% here are coming from. 69% of you push that button. Nice. The next session revolves around your character's backstory, but you can't attend to the session. What are you gonna do, chat? This is a conundrum. Truly a predicament. Oh, look at that. The first button with the majority no. I personally would hate that. I would not want a character-driven side quest or anything of the like to happen without me being there. That would suck. First of all, you would need a backstory. Why doesn't your character have a backstory, or do you just not have a character? The first majority no button has occurred. For button number 7, chat, you can choose to make a single dice roll you see a natural 20, but the next time an enemy rolls a natural 20, well, no, a natural 1, it becomes a natural 20. Something tells me their 20 might actually be better because monsters get to potentially roll like all the time constantly throughout the game, which means they get more benefit out of their reroll because it's specifically only targeting a 1, which means that we go from a potential like critical fail to a critical success. As opposed to you, who's probably just gonna use it for like an attack roll or something that missed. I don't know, you might not be as strategic with it, but I don't know. Bard seduce the dragon with a natural 20. Smart. I can see a lot of use out of a nat 20 persuasion. A lot of DMs give a lot of leniency on nat 20 persuasions for some bizarre reason. All right, chat, you'd push the button. The party gains enough gold to buy a slew of new magic items appropriate for their level, but the shopping session takes 6 hours out of game. I don't know, chat, I don't know. I might not press this button. This button's a little cringe. I can't even bother with an hour shopping session. If you could make it interesting, how are you gonna make us an interesting 6-hour shopping session? And if there's most DMs that I know, no one plans for a shopping session. The player's gonna walk in, go to the magic item seller, say, "Magic item seller, I wish to have your finest magic items." And then the magic item seller is gonna be like, "You can't handle my finest magic items. You don't have the money for it." And then the other player's gonna be like, "Oh, I do, see?" And then they pull out their money, and then they roll a persuasion roll and an intimidation roll, and then they do that for every single item. Okay, next button. All campaigns you join never have scheduling issues, but you can no longer have food or water while a campaign you're a part of is actively being hosted. This is sort of cringe, chat, because I know a lot of people who play D&D love having food or drinks at the table, and this would absolutely just ruin that vibe. You'd be traumatized. Like, there'd be people eating crunching Doritos, crunching Lay's chips at the table, and you just have to sit there and take it. That would suck. But on the other side, you never have to deal with the absolute tormentation that is scheduling. Scheduling is a bane of all tabletop RPGs. No one wants to deal with that. 58% of you said yes. It's a little bit more even this time around. I think some people are overinflating how detrimental it would be to not be able to eat for like 3 hours. Scheduling issues suck, and I would press this button. D&D horror stories no longer occur, but they occur twice as frequently in all other tabletop RPGs. I mean, considering I mostly play D&D, and if I was being a selfish little troll, I would probably press this button. I'd say it would maybe even out. Like, all tabletop RPGs combined probably equal what D&D has in terms of player base, I guess. So overall, I think it may be a net even, but it would also be a net positive for me because I exclusively play D&D for the most part. You love D&D horror stories? Yeah, this would also probably kill Crit Crab, all the other tabletop RPG horror story creators. I have a morbid curiosity when it comes to D&D horror stories. So if they stopped happening, I'd be a little upset. And Crit Crab would be out of the job. He'd have to actually start writing scripts, which would be tough on him. All right, chat, you wouldn't push the button. You'd allow D&D to suffer for the fate of other tabletop RPGs. Maybe you're just banking on D&D falling off and then everyone moving to a different RPG anyway. Let's move on. Your character dies in your next session with no hope of returning, but it's incredibly memorable and a story you'll retell for decades. You hear something in your walls? What do you mean? I'm not in your walls. Don't check. What do you got so far, chat? 80% of you say yes? Whoa, this one's crazy. I think this is the most one-sided one so far. I probably wouldn't press this button. I don't think any of my characters have really had a moment or have enough build-up yet to make a really incredible moment, which means if they died, I think it'd be pretty mediocre. Like, I'd probably tell the story just because it'd probably be incredibly memorable. In what way? Hilariously memorable? Just pathetically memorable? It'd probably be pathetic, in which case, I probably wouldn't want them to die that way. I like epic character deaths, and considering most of my characters are still pretty new, I think it'd be pretty mid. 77% of you would push this button. Cool. Let's move on. Wizards of the Coast immediately releases 50 years worth of products, balance updates, and core rulebooks for D&D 5.5, or 1D&D. But all other editions of the game, besides their newest, no longer exist, including all third-party content for those editions. Maybe the virtual tabletop's finally finished. It only took them 50 years. 50 years of content doesn't mean 50 years of good content. Something tells me if Wizards of the Coast wasn't so cringe, then more of you would be pressing this button. Anyway, 58% of you don't want to press this button. Rest in peace, Wizards of the Coast. People want you down. Your characters level up after every session now, up to level 20. But they must all multi-class with at least half of all their levels. I would press this button. I'm fine with multi-classing personally, but also because I know that most campaigns aren't going past level 5 anyway, which just means we're going to get to level 10 and balances things out anyway. Majority of you are saying no, so let's move on. Blaine Simple becomes a lead rules designer designer for D&D. However, he thinks that 4E had a lot of good ideas. Truth be told, I think you might want to consider this one. I don't know, chat, a pretty spicy button right here. The mere fact that you have someone as trustworthy as me behind the scenes looking out for the community is pretty important, you know? But also 4E had a lot of good ideas. I think a lot of people are hating on 4E a little too much. This is a lose-lose. No, it's not. This is a win-win. This is the first one that's 50-50. Wow, that is fair. I mean, I personally wouldn't want to become a Leeds rules designer. I just want to complain on the internet and then force people to make homebrew based on everything that I talk about. Like, that's all I want to do. I want to bring up the idea and then leave it there. Anyway, let's continue. Role-playing games evolve to a point where they can be as realistic and immersive as you'd like them to be. But there's a 0.001% chance that if you die in the game, you die in real life. I mean, those are pretty low odds, and if you really died in the game, then you probably deserved it. Just don't die. Easy. Just get good. Skill issue. Take my money, no need for further thought. Seems like 72% of you would push it. I probably would as well. I wouldn't die. I'd be too good. I wouldn't have to worry. Just get on my level. I want to be a dog. All right. No need to be so open about that one, but let's move on. One of your D&D characters becomes real, but world governments around the world know they exist and what they're capable of. You gotta bring a character in that's like really mediocre, which is probably why a good majority of you are pushing the button right now, because all of your characters are mediocre. Like, what are they gonna do? Dismantle the government by casting burning hands? Ooh, so scary. If you bring a cleric into the world and they still have their cleric powers, then you basically just confirmed the existence of a god. So that'd be pretty funny. Oh, level 20 bard in the real world. Give them the ability to stream? Oh my gosh, you have the most impactful influencer in the world. Easy presidential election. But yeah, looks like the majority of you are pushing this button. Well then, chat, we've gone through all of the buttons. Thank you all for helping me gather details and info. Hopefully a video like this was fun. I had fun making it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all some other time.